In this presentation, we'll look at document structure. In an organization, typically every day, hundreds of financial postings are taking place. These postings are created as a financial document. Hence, you need a structure to segregate these documents by their types. For example, expenses document separately, payroll documents, invoices documents, revenue documents, and so on. All these different type of postings create different type of documents. So you need a method to segregate these documents. And you can give a unique ID for these documents as well. That makes it easier. So within expenses type of documents, there can be many different expense postings like stationery expense, vehicle expense, and so many different type of expenses can come, and each of them will require different unique document number. This makes it easier for internal as well as external auditors and your finance team to track these documents. Hence, you need a separate document type, you need a document number, and then we look at what else makes it more unique to identify a document. Let's look at the concept of document type. The document type, as we saw discussed earlier in the presentation, you can have different type of document types, one for your expenses, one for your revenues, and so on. These document types control the header data, and it's used to identify what type of business transaction it's done for. These document types, by default, there are many available already in the system. Hence, you do not need to create additional document types except for some specific purposes. These document types exist at the client level, which means all the company codes which exist in your client can use those document types. You do not have to create separate document types for separate company codes. All company codes can use these document types available in the system. In these document type, you define the number range. For example, if you have a document type such as invoices, and you can specify a number range unique to that specific invoice document type. So these number ranges do not overlap between document types. You also have the option of specifying account types. What type of accounts can post to these type of document types? Whether customers, vendors, assets, materials, or even standard general ledger accounts. Which of these accounts can be posted to the document types? For example, if you have a document type like customer payment, then in that customer payment document type, you can ensure that only customer accounts are able to post to that document type. You can block all the other type of account types from posting to this document type. So it gives a quite a level of control using these document types. You also have the option of controlling the field status in the document header fields. Which fields are mandatory, which fields are not mandatory, and so on. You can specify which are the fields that is going to appear in the document header status. Another option is to input the batch input only option. This means using this document type, you have the option of loading mass amount of data to this document type. If you do not allow this option, then you can only post documents via single entries or multiple entries, but not using a mass upload tool. So that's what this batch input only option gives. Again, once again, the main thing to know about document type, it is created at the client level. It's valid for all company codes. It controls the number range, it controls account types, and what are the field status of the document header fields. Those are the main important things for a document type. Now let's look at the document types available in the system. So you come to the SPRO menu path, financial accounting global settings, document, document types, and we come to define document types. That is a short translation code OBA7. Let's execute that, define document types over here, and it brings to these available document types in the system. So you can see AA for asset posting, AB for journal entry. Most of these are all standard ones provided by the system. And if you want to add your own document type, you can just simply select one existing document type like this and click on this copy button, and you can give your own ID. It has to be a 2-character ID shown like this. So you can specify an ID. Best is that you always start with something with Z, because by standard SAP does not give any document type starting with a Z. So you can use those available. Now let's look at some of these document types. Let's look at this one, DA, customer document. So if you double click on that document type, it brings you to the screen over here. And you can see document type DA, a description is given, number range. You can see a number range is given, an ID like this, 16. And if you click on this number range information and you go to your company code, you can see the number range available. So let's do that setting over here. You can specify your company code. So I'm going to specify my company code as M001 and see if there's any number ranges available. Nothing is maintained. So I'm going to specify my own number range. Going to select this option over here and copy it from company code 1000. So best is that before you copy anything, just check what's existing in that company code 1000. See whether all the number ranges have been maintained. Okay, so you can see only few have been maintained over here. So let's look at another company code. I'm just going to put some of those default ones provided by the system. Here you can see for all the numbers, a number range has been maintained. So that is perfect. So I'm going to copy from 0001. That's best. So I'm going to use copy from 0001 to my company code M001 and press OK to continue. And now the number range should have been copied. Let me just double check that. M001. Check the intervals. Now all these number ranges have been copied over here. That's great. And let's just get back here. And that's the number I specified. Reverse document type, what that means is that when you do a reversal of this document, this is the document type which gets posted to. So it's not the same document which gets posted to when you do a reversal entry. We'll look at reversal entries later on in the presentation. For now, let's just keep it simple. So let's look at these account types allowed. What are the account types allowed? By default, they're given assets posting is allowed, customer posting is allowed, vendor posting is allowed, and GL account posting is allowed. They have taken off material posting and secondary cost element postings. So if you want, you can specify that for this document type, you only want customer and GL account postings to be done. Then you cannot use any vendors to make any postings or any asset account postings. But I would highly recommend do not do any changes to these settings, any of these settings for the standard document types. If you want, you can create your own document type and you can play around with these settings. And you can also see some other options like negative postings have been permitted. You also have the option to make sure that this document type does a customer and vendor checks. And there are some other information also you can see. For now, we will not go into too much of the detail. Just keep it simple. And there are some information like required during document entry. So if you specify this document header text, if you click on this, that means that in the main document header that you have to specify some text field over there. It just becomes mandatory. Similarly for the reference number also, if you specify that, it becomes mandatory. Mostly if you're doing a vendor document, like you're getting some invoices from the vendors, then you specify this reference number over there. So the vendor's invoice number you have to enter in that document type before you can proceed to save that. So these are all the document types available in the system. You can create your own one by clicking on new entries and specify the thing, or you can select an existing one and do the copy. Now let's look at document number range. So we defined a document number range, we just copied it from an existing company code, the 0001, and we copied over to our own company code, which is the most easiest method. Now using this document number range, you have two options. You either have an internal number range or an external number range. Internal number range means the system will automatically use an internal numbering using the next chronological number. For example, if you have specified a number range as 0100 to 01999, the first number will be this one, next one will be 1 followed here 2, so on, all the way until 1999 comes across. That will be the internal number range. If you want to specify external number range, you can still specify a number range like this, and you can put in a number, any number between this number range. That's what you call as external number range. But I would recommend do not use this external number range. It's always best that you use an internal number range. Now, number range is defined at company code level. You saw that's why we copied over to our company code M001. It is not defined like a client level, unlike the document type. So for each company code, you got to specify a number range. You also have the option of putting the number range by each year or up to a total year. Let's look at this in detail. If you specify a number range like this, each year, each fiscal year, like this shown here, let's say for example, for number range type 01, specifying for 2015, you are going to specify 0100 to 01999. For 2016, same thing, 2017 and so on. You can use the same number range for each different year. What that means is all the financial postings within the year 2015 will stick to this number range, and all the financial postings in year 2016 will stick to this number range. So that means you can have the same document number in two different fiscal years. For example, you can have a number like this 10000 and 1 for 2015, 1002 for 2015 and so on. And 2016 also you can have 10001 and 1002 and so on. So it is going to be differentiated by the fiscal year. So that's how you can identify that this document was posted on this fiscal year, this document was posted on this fiscal year. So the number just resets after every fiscal year. That's a simple way of looking at it. If you use this option up to a future fiscal year, which is of course the most easiest method, like how we just copied over from 0001 to M001, then within this number range, it just goes on continuing. It does not reset every year. So if you are here in the year, for example, 2025, then it will be like 020001. Then 2026, if it goes, it just goes to the next number, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. It does not reset unlike this number range. So the easiest option to, of course, is used up to a future fiscal year. One is that you can easily copy it over from 0001 company code. And the second thing is there's enough number range given over here. This is a 10-digit number range. So there's plenty of number available. Even if you just keep the 02 as it is and just look at these number of zeros, that is 3, 6, 8. So there's 8 digits up to here you can use. So there's plenty of enough number, almost 100 million documents which you're not going to use within your system number ranges, and that also only for this type of number range. So for 03 you have different number ranges and so on. So you almost have 100 million document numbers which you can use. So hence it's easiest to use this up to future fiscal year number range option and to keep it as an internal number range. Let's look at the document principle. In SAP, each document is uniquely identified by a document number, the company code, and the fiscal year. These three are very important. You got to remember that each document is identified by a document number. This document number is unique with the combination of company code, that company code which belongs to, and in which fiscal year it was posted. These three combination will always be unique: document number, company code, and fiscal year. This part, this area you see over here, is called the document header. This document header contains important information such as the document date which it was posted in, the posting date, the period, which period it belongs to, the reference number, and the currency. There are also some other information you can specify like the document header text and so on. But this important information is called the document header. This part is called the document line item, which we'll look into it later. Just remember that each SAP document is identified by the document number, company code, and fiscal year, and this section is called the document header. Now let's look at the concept of control keys. There are two important control keys in a document. One is a document type. We discussed this very much in detail earlier. The other one is the posting key. The document type, of course, controls the header area of the document. So this is the header area. All this information the document type controls. The posting key controls the line items of the document. So in one document, you can have multiple line items. You need to have at least two line items, one for your debit and one for your credit. But you can have the one debit line item and you can have multiple credit items. As long as the debits and credits equals, you can post the actual document. So let's look at this line item over here. It says the company code 1000. It applies here as well. Item number 1, and you can see the key says 31. This is the posting key. This posting key controls the line item over here. For example, it might say for this posting key, the item text must be mandatory. But here we don't see any text over there. It will come up later. The text must be mandatory, or the assignment field must be mandatory, or it can be optional, and so on. So it can control what items are mandatory, optional, or hidden. Similarly, if you look at this line item over here, line item number 2, number is 40. It for some specific account. You can also specify for this particular posting key what type of accounts you can post to, whether it could be a vendor account or customer account or GL account and so on. So we can specify that option also. And then also again you can specify which type of fields is mandatory, hidden, optional. Let's look at more about posting keys in the next few slides. The posting key, just like the document type, is created at the client level. Hence, all the company codes within that client can use those posting keys. Now, unlike I mentioned in document type, where you can create your own document type for specific purposes, it is highly recommended not to create your own posting keys. There are plenty available in the system or deployed by SAP by default. Please use one of them. Do not go and create your own one. These posting keys control what type of accounts it can post to, whether it's going to be a debit or credit entries, and then the field status of those line items. So let's look at that. What type of accounts? So if you look at this posting key, number 27, it says account type V, which means only vendors can post to this posting key. Only vendor related transactions can be posted to this posting key. And it has to be a debit entry. That's why it's got a D over here. And by default, they're given a what type of posting keys can be used for mainly for clearing items. This again helps you to identify by line item itself that what type of purposes these posting keys are offering. Then you have 28, again V, and it's also got a debit, but it says this can be used for payment clearing. And if you look at number 31, again V, that is for vendor item, but it's a credit entry. So this can be used for invoices. Vendor invoices, you can use this posting key 31, just like in the example shown in the previous slide. And you can see now coming up to number 40, the account type is G, that means it's a GL account. And it could be a debit entry, and it just says debit entry over here. For GL account, you just have two posting keys, number 40 and number 50, one for debit and one for credit. So we won't do any changes to the posting key configuration, but if you go to the IMJ menu path, you will see all the posting keys available in the system, and it shows what type of account type it can be posted to and whether it's debit or credit entries. For example, if you look at posting key 01, that is used for customer invoices. And you can see the indicator specified over here and what type of account you can specify. So unlike the document tab, you can select multiple options. In the posting key, you can only select one option of one account type. So it can be either posted to a customer or a vendor or a GL account or an asset or a material. You cannot have multiple options because you can see it's only a radio button with a selection of one item. So a posting key, you must remember, it can be either posted to a debit or credit entry, and it can be either posted to a customer, vendor, GL account, assets, or material. And then you can specify the field status using this button, and you can mention what type of fields are mandatory, hidden, or optional. Then if you go to the field status group, you'll come to this section over here, maintain that field status. In this posting key 01, which can be used for customer invoices, you will see different type of selection groups over here. Underneath that you have general data. For example, you'll find assignment number, text is all optional entries. Some entries are hidden also. Again, this is going very much into technical. You don't have to know this much in detail because we're not going to do any changes to posting keys. We are going to use the ones default provided by the system. Now in the last few slides, we saw the posting keys and what are the fields it can control and what the settings for that, they can be hidden, display, required or optional. Now if you can recall earlier in our previous presentations, we looked at GL master record. In the GL master record under the create bank intersection, there was a field status group setting over there. I used some field status group like YB01 and there are some other sections also you can use. Now that GL master record field status group also controls the same similar fields like the posting key. So for example, the GL accounts text field may be required. The GL accounts field status group can say that the text field is required. But the posting keys, for example, posting key 40s, text field may be optional. So then there's a conflict. So what happens? What is the priority which is going to take in place? So the priority is hidden, display, required, optional, or you can think of it as suppressed, display, required, optional, SDRO. This is the priority rule over here. So for example, if the GL accounts text field may be required and the posting key 40's text field may be optional, then the priority is required. That means that in the document, the text field will be required. That means you have to enter the text field before you can post the document. Now there's another option. For example, if the GL accounts GL accounts field says display, but the posting key says optional, then it will only be display. That means you don't have to write anything. So mainly you're not going to face any issues between display, optional, or hidden and optional and so on. The only issue you're going to face is at the time of required, and there could be an error message if your GL accounts field status group says hidden or suppressed, and then your posting keys field says required, but there's no way that you can input that entry because it's hidden, then you're going to get an error message. This, of course, is going to be a very, very unlikely scenario that you will hardly ever encounter. But just in terms of theoretical knowledge, remember that if there's a conflict between your GL master records, field status groups, field information, and the posting keys field information, and if there's a conflict between, if they're not the same, then the priority rule is SDRO, suppress display required optional. Again, very unlikely that you're going to face these scenarios in real-time entries, because generally most of the time it's going to be either display or optional entries. Certain fields will be required, but then of course the GLs on also might be a display and all. Very unlikely that the required field in your posting key could be a hidden field in your GL accounts field status group. So that's why you're very unlikely to face that scenario. We looked at a lot of principles in this presentation. Let's recap quickly. We saw what's a document principle. It contains the header and line items, how to uniquely identify a document using document number, company code, and fiscal year. These are three parameters to uniquely identify a financial posting document. Document type, the different type of document types available, what do they control, posting keys, different type of posting keys available in system and what do they control. And then we also understood that document type and posting key are created at client level and what type of parameters they control. Now for your assignment, check the existing document type settings in the system. Do not do any changes. You simply go through the existing settings. Also look at the existing settings for your posting keys as well. Only one main configuration you need to do, or actually is a copy of a number range, and that is to copy the document number ranges from company code 0001 to your newly created company code. If you have created multiple company codes, then please copy across to all the company codes. Now, it's very important that in this presentation, you understand the document principles regarding the uniquely identifying document number, the document type, and posting keys, because when you go on to the next presentations, it'll become more advanced. So you must be very clear on the basics.